What version of the OS runs? What apps are running down there? If there's security alerts on any of those things, you can get a color-coded dashboard. You can shut those devices down. You can do all kinds of things with that. So.
I just wanted to add a comment, if I might as well, that there's an interesting vendor response to this question, right? So if you look at what, for example, Amazon has recently announced a network access product designed for Amazon Web Services. And then, of course, we actually have a representative of Samus here, who has one of the leading hybrid cloud management capabilities, which addresses access control and security in some of the most, should we say, secure environments around with financial services providers, for example. And what you see is that what this really does is it introduces an entirely new dimension of security. So when you have these conversations, you really got to boil it down. Is it network security? Is it the application level? Is it at the database level? Is it premise security? Is it down at the, when you virtualize, there's actually problems that occur with connecting a particular process to a particular CPU to have that kind of transactional integrity all the way through. So you have to boil this conversation down to more specifics. But what I've found in my experience is that I've seen at least one, if not 20 vendors out there having a response to this. And one of the challenges, I think, in this entire market right now is there's so much motion and so much noise. So one of the things we're hoping to do today is for you to sort of understand that this is a conversation we've got to get through. There aren't pat answers that fit each firm. And so you've really got to look carefully at each element of it and then find the appropriate solution. But I believe there's good tools out there to address virtually any security need that a company has.
Yeah, there's no question about it. We need to start winding down a little bit here. This has been great. It's great to get the questions from the audience. Any others before I let these guys have a last word? You can stick around for as long as you like after that and meet up with them face to face if you want. Anybody? All right, so let's do that. Let's go down the panel and talk a little bit about putting this all into perspective. As the consultant on the panel, the guy who actually gets his hands dirty, I'm the guy who's up in the clouds. What are you seeing? What gets you most excited about the space we've been talking about today? And what do you want to encourage this audience to think about as they leave this session?
Well, the thing that gets me most excited, we haven't actually touched on today, and that is a brand new field which is known as case management. The practice of case management has been around for 20, 30 years, but having tools to support case management, again, I come from the business process management background, which is all about, Frederick Winslow Taylor, this whole idea of scientific management. We're going to plan out exactly what we'll do. Every step is going to be orchestrated and such. And that's great for routine processes. And for the most part, BPM has done a great job of automating that sorts of thing. So if you want to take an order and fulfill that for a cell phone vendor and do all those things, that can be a straight through process and do it. Now we're looking at what knowledge workers do. And knowledge workers is very different because every time they approach a job, they do it differently. This is like, think about mergers and acquisitions, think about what your board members go through. Think about launching a major movie. Every movie gets launched in a different way because there's different things that happen and sometimes there's tragedies that affect your marketing strategy. So you need to think on your feet. How do you do that? Is it a business process? Yeah, not really. I mean, there's some aspects of the process to it. And my first experience with Cordys was 3 years ago. I was writing a book on case management. And some of these early ideas about very, very flexible processes. How is it that a doctor, for instance, creates a treatment plan on the fly for a patient when every patient is different? Okay, there may be similar treatments, but there may be identical treatments or routine treatments. There's no routine patients. And so Cordys is one of those that was in there. Somebody from Cordys came. He actually wrote a chapter in the book. And Cordys has been very up in front about the standards around case management. So there's a OMG, which is that me? Was I doing that? There's a group at OMG setting the standards for case management. And Cordys is one of the active people there. So in terms of, I think this is a new, exciting field for knowledge workers. And they're right there on the forefront.
Great. John?
That is so cool to listen to because we went through that 3.5 years ago where we were talking about case management.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd mention a little bit about your case management.
It was a really interesting thing because I also come from a long time process background. I worked at Booz Allen back in the late 80s and early